Shalom. You know, when we read the Torah publicly every week, it's customary at the conclusion of each of the 5 books of Moses that when we reach the end of one of the Sfarim, the entire congregation will rise to its feet and declare in unison as one man the words Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek, which means be strong, and let us be strengthened. And we'll be doing that, God willing, this Shabbat as we read the final portion of the book of SHMOT, Perkudei. Now this 5th and final portion dealing with the desert tabernacle, you know, this is what we've been fixated on for some time now. It's the first order of business following the giving of the Torah while yet at Sinai. And Parshat Perkudei really emphasizes on a simple level the concept of accountability for a leader. After all, these are reckonings. Perkudei, HaMishkan, these are the reckonings. On the simplest level, there's a testimony here that there's no funny business, and nothing was pocketed. As Rashi tells us, these are the accounts, the reckonings, the receipts. Rashi tells us, this Parsha lists all the amounts and weights of the contributions to the Mishkan, the silver, gold, copper, all the vessels for the service are counted. So, in a review of these Parshiot, Terumah and Tetzaveh, Hashem was telling Moshe, giving over the commandments. The Almighty was instructing Moshe in the commandments. Vayakel, Moshe assembled the entire nation, told them of their responsibility to erect the tabernacle. They go out, get it together immediately. 2 mornings, they already have more than enough assembled of all the materials. But what does Perkudei really add? Again, doesn't seem to be anything but a reckoning. In Parshat Vayakel, we counted more than 30 action-oriented expressions of the completion of the tabernacle. And Parshat Perkudei seems to be somewhat repetitious. You know, this whole adventure of the Exodus from Egypt, let's start earlier, the whole adventure of the creation of man and the formation of the nation of Israel in the belly of the beast in the land of Egypt and its miraculous exodus, and now the establishment of the tabernacle. All of this is about belief in God. And belief in God informs everything that we do as a people. And yes, precisely, we are a people, not a religion. To have a religion, you know, it's very cute. We do this and we do that. We have this ritual. But this is not about religion. We're a people. And from this point on, everything that we will be doing from this point of where we're reading now in the Torah, everything will be as a national strategy, a national consensus and purpose. We're going to be following the pillar of cloud, the pillar of fire to our final destination. But, yes, it's true, we sure are spending a lot of time on this subject of the tabernacle. So tell me again why it's so important and why we should want to return to such an antiquated lifestyle. And like we learned last week, that sublime expression that our sages teach us, the Holy One, blessed be He, sought to have a dwelling place below. The whole thing here is about establishing a place for God to dwell in on earth. But what does that really mean? Actually, this whole concept of living with God like a neighbor in our midst, what a difference it makes to everything. You know that our sages emphasize that the establishment of the tabernacle is considered like the perfection of existence. Everything has been leading up to this moment. Why? Why is it described in such a bold way? Because we prove that it was all worthwhile. That creation, after all, was worthwhile. Just because of the fact that we are willing to let God in and to be focused and to be in acknowledgement and to be centered on that purpose of our lives, that shows that everything was worthwhile. And that, indeed, is the perfection of man, the perfection of creation. And another way of understanding those words, that beautiful tradition, words that we'll be repeating this Shabbat, words that we recite when we conclude every one of the 5 books of the Torah, Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazek, be strong, and let us be strengthened. Another way of understanding that is simply a job well done. And how forlorn and bereft must be a godless existence. Take it from me, said Hunter S. Thompson, father of gonzo journalism, in the horrid Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Take it from me, he said, there's nothing like a job well done except the quiet, enveloping darkness at the bottom of a bottle of Jim Beam after any job done any way at all. No wonder the book's preface quotes that eminent man of English letters, Samuel Johnson, who said, "He who makes a beast of himself gets rid of the pain of being a man." It is precisely because we are men and not beasts that we are commanded to erect that tabernacle wherein we separate the species of man as elevated above the rest of creation. Yes, it certainly can be painful to be a man. The alternative is to become a beast. And it is so easy to sink into that insipid darkness. And it is precisely that insipid, stupefying, quiet, enveloping darkness that Jewish life, centered around God consciousness as exemplified by our nation, centered around the tabernacle and then the Holy Temple, that comes to address, rectify, excise, and purify that morose human tendency to give up. Giving in to that quiet, enveloping darkness, the potential for evil and despair inside all of us, is giving up. And giving up on the human who is created in the divine image, that's what it means to give into that darkness. So small wonder that this act, the completion of the tabernacle, was considered to be the rectification of creation. And the first day of Nisan, the day on which the tabernacle was erected, the first day of the new month of Nisan, that day is considered by Torah as a day of celebration for the whole universe, a day of the highest joy that is felt by all of creation. Celestially, it's a ripple effect of some sort of reverberating cosmic life flow of joyous energy that goes forth in the beginning of Nisan, because the tabernacle was erected and God was let back into the picture. So small wonder again that verses that we find in this Torah portion, like, for example, here in Perkudei, chapter 39 and verse 32, all the work of the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, was completed, and the children of Israel had done everything that Hashem commanded Moshe, so did they do. And verses like chapter 42, verse 43. I'm sorry, here, verses 42 and 43, which read, like everything that Hashem commanded Moshe, so did the children of Israel perform all the labor. Moshe saw the entire work, and behold, they had done it as Hashem had commanded, so had they done, and Moshe blessed them. Small wonder that these verses are so, shall we say, almost uncannily reminiscent of Genesis 1, verse 31, which reads, and God saw all that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And in the beginning of chapter 2 of Genesis, where we read, thus the heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. By the seventh day God completed his work which he had done, and he abstained on the seventh day from all his work which he had done. God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it. These verses are a parallel, because the establishment, the completion, the erection of the tabernacle is a parallel universe, and it's a parallel to the creation itself, because this is the next stage of creation. It's like there are two stages. There is pre-tabernacle and there is post-tabernacle. And post-tabernacle is the confirmation that it really was a very good idea indeed to bring man into the world just for the purpose of him being able to know that there's a creator, that there's a God in the world. This celebrated educator, Horace Mann, he said, "Be ashamed to die until you have won some victory for humanity. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. Be strong, and let us be strengthened." The building of the tabernacle is a victory for all humanity. And besides all this, here in Parshat Perkudei, there is some music to my ears, because there are 17 more times where there is an action-oriented expression. Vayas, vayasu, he made, or they made. All of the aspects of the tabernacle are accounted for, and they did not materialize magically. They did not descend from heaven. They were made in the desert. And notice that the people of Israel did not recriminate or excuse themselves or debate the merits or establish exploratory committees or gear up other committees to reject the findings of the first. They actually made the tabernacle. And you know, there's an interesting comment that Rashi makes here at the end of this Torah portion on the words, "Now they brought the Mishkan to Moshe." You see, they could not erect it, Moshe said. So Moses had actually done no work in the Mishkan himself, the others had. So the Holy One, blessed be He, said he left the task of erecting it to Moshe himself, of erecting the Mishkan. And no human being could erect it by himself because of the heaviness of the planks. No human was strong enough to put them up. But Moshe somehow was able to. So Moshe said before the Holy One, blessed be He, all this, the tradition that Rashi mentions, this homiletical teaching. Moshe said before the Holy One, blessed be He, how is it possible for a human being to erect it? And so God replied, actually, Moshe, you just do with your hands as if you're doing it, and you'll appear to be erecting it, but it will actually arise by itself. And this is the meaning of what it says in the verse, Exodus 40:17, the Mishkan was set up. Rashi says it was set up by itself. So Rashi cites from the famous Midrash of Rabbi Tanchuma. It's actually a perfect teaching. I'll be satisfied with that. Rashi is saying that Hashem said to Moshe, you know what? I'm really doing it, but you just go through the motions and everyone will think that you did it, but you're right, you can't do it, I'll do it. You know what? That's fine if God needs to do it, but notice that the Midrash is teaching that Moshe had to do something. At least he had to go through the motions, at least he had to use his hands. And so when we are ready to take all of this so seriously and realize that we have the opportunity to facilitate the rectification of creation and to actually validate our own humanity, and in the words of Horace Mann, to actually achieve some victory for humanity by being the model nation that we can be, centered around God consciousness by erecting the Holy Temple, we can go through the motions, and whether we do it ourselves or if like others would like to say, even though it says so many tens of times in these Torah portions that we've been enjoying all these weeks that we did it, like others like to say that God will do it, fine, let God do it, but at least let's act like we're doing it, and together with that holy partnership we can bring about, God willing, the continuation of creation, the rectification of all creation.